Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Music Den. I'm of course your host Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good Thursday evening. In light of Peter Kent and I doing album ranking on Thin Lizzy, I thought it would be only fitting to do an album spotlight on Phil Lynott. And the album that I'm going to be talking about is his second solo release, the Phil Lynott album. Released September 17th, 1982, on Warner Brothers in North America and on Vertigo in the UK. Um, this album, I'll get into it, but it marks a bit of a departure for him. The album was produced by Phil Lynott and Kit Wolven. Oh, hopefully I got that right. And also two tracks that are produced by Midure, along with Midure plays. There's instrumentation on the album as well. Sorry. The album is comprised of 11 tracks. And on its release, on the initial release, it reached number 18 in Sweden in 1982. And on the re release in 2022, it reached number 40 in the charts in Ireland. Now, again, Phil Lynott, if you're a rock fan or, you know, uh, any type of genre, you know of Thin Lizzy and you know of Phil Lynott, charismatic frontman, bass player, multi-instrumentalist, basically, main songwriter for Thin Lizzy. Near the end of Thin Lizzy's recording career, the last two albums, Renegade and Thunder and Lightning, the band went for a much more of a heavier rock sound, with the addition of John Sykes for the recording of Thunder and Lightning. It was an extremely heavy album. Um, this album, the Fall Lynott album, is a much more diverse album. First of all, he uses a lot more electronic instrumentation. Sorry, it's been a long day, guys. A lot more keyboard oriented compositions, Lindrum programming, synth bass, etc. The album again has 11 tracks. Fantastic album. This is his follow up to his first solo release, Solo in Soho, released in 1980. Uh, Personally, for me, I prefer this album over Solo in Soho, for the simple fact that it is indeed a much more uh, left turn than Solo in Soho, in my personal opinion. Starts off with a fatalistic attitude, and it basically, again, it does start off with more programmed instrumentation. Um, the track itself starts off with a woman calling into a late night radio talk show and discussing political views and social socialistic views. But again, a lot more computerized instrumentation. Phil Lynott for the album does a lot of the playing on the album in terms of bass, guitar, drum programming, percussion, keyboard programming, etc. On this album, he is joined by, as I said before, Midjure from Ultravox. Midjure plays on two tracks, track 6 and 7 on the album, and I'll get to that. Next track on the album, track number 2, is "The Man's a Fool," and this is more of if I say middle of the road pop, I don't mean that in a bad way or to bring down the album. It's just more accessible musically in terms of the production, more pop oriented, and it's basically talking about, again, very socialistic views on society in Ireland and around in the UK and basically around the world. And basically, he's asking, have we lost the plot in terms of society, and can we get back on track? Um, and it should be said that Phil Lynott was a very proud Irishman. If when he was with Thin Lizzy and any interviews he did, if anybody mistook him or the band for being an English band or him an English musician, he would stop the interview and correct the interviewer and say, "No, I'm Irishman. The band is Irish. We believe wholeheartedly in, you know, and what we're doing, and we believe in Ireland." And he would basically give the interviewer a history lesson on Ireland. And he was a staunch proud Catholic Irishman, and that's fine. That's fantastic, actually. The third track on the album is one of the two tracks co-written by Jimmy Bain. Jimmy Bain, bass player with most notably, I remember, Rainbow. The track is called Old Town. Beautiful track. Fan bloody tastic. Again, very middle of the road, radio friendly pop. And it's a sad track. If you watch the video, there is a video that was done for the track officially released. It is on YouTube. And the Phil Lynott is basically saying in the lyrics that he is slowly coming to an end, like he's cracking up. The At the end of the chorus, for the track, he says that he sings the lyrics, "This boy's cracking up, this boy's breaking down." And his mother, Philomena Lynott, had said in a VH1 Behind the Music documentary that this video that she watches, she didn't mention it by name, but this is the video that she is talking about, that when she watches the video, it's very poignant for her. It's very sad. And it is. Because at this point, he was in the throes of very bad heroin addiction. And he didn't know how to stop. And he was telling friends about a year later, a year or two later, that he was basically at the end of his rope. He's done. He's wasted. He's finished. And they're like, "Oh, come on." And he knew what was going on. He knew that his body was shutting down. Fantastic single for the album. Just a side note, I don't know why this album did not do well in North America. It should have. And again, being released through Warner Brothers should have given it more of a push. They should have. The next track is track 4, called Kathleen, featuring Huey Lewis on harmonica. Beautiful, poignant track about this, woman, nice Irish Catholic woman named Kathleen, who, Phil Lynott was a sucker for the ladies. He loved a beautiful woman, and he would charm the pants off these women, whoever he was interested in. Marriage did not stop him from being monogamous. He admitted it himself. It's just a very beautiful track, very beautiful, easygoing, relaxing composition, just very beautiful, a mid-tempo track, beautiful. Next up is track 5, called Growing Up. And basically it's talking about a family who are dealing with day-to-day life and their struggles. A father losing his job, trying to keep it together for his family, trying to pay the bills. A girl, the daughter, going to school, realizing that her father, is struggling, and how is she going to cope with what is going on in their life, and the fact that she has to grow up pretty quickly and learn that she needs to deal with the changes going on in her life. Fantastic. Next track is the first of two tracks that were one was co-written with Midyor, and the second was produced with by Midyor. The first one is track 6, the end of side 1, called Yellow Pearl. Again, this is where the programmed instrumentation comes in. You have Midyor playing keyboards and drum programming, etc. Very rhythmic, very beat oriented, electronic, early electronica. Very beautiful. I mean, just again, I call it ass shaking. If you watch the channel, you know that if something gets me going musically, rhythmically, I call it an ass shaker of a track. And this is an ass shaker of a track. There was a 12-inch version of this released. There is two versions of this, I think, I do believe, available on YouTube to listen to. Fantastic short little track, only 2 minutes 58 seconds. Ends off side 1. Side 2 starts off with the second of the two tracks produced by Midyor, called Together. This was, I believe, another single released in 12-inch form. Again, very instrumentally programmed track, programmed drums, synth bass, etc. But very rhythmic, very melodic, very catchy to the ear, very beautiful. Just what I like about this album, and listening to it more and more, is the fact that Phil Lynott purposely took a left turn and did something that, to his fans, his staunch fans, and for Thin Lizzy, was completely off the radar, right? For him and for the fans. He loved doing that. Track 8 is called A Little Bit of Water, featuring Bob C. Benberg from Supertramp on drums. There is basically an all-star listing of who is on this album. You have, just to go into that for a second, you have Brian Downey from Thin Lizzy playing on one track. You have Scott Gorham playing bass on one track. I believe it's track 10, called Gino. I'll get to that. You have, again, Bob C. Benberg. You have Rusty Egan playing drums as well on some of the tracks. You have Mel Collins from King Crimson playing sax on the album. Just an amazing array of artists that contributed to this album. A Little Bit of Water, for me, he's saying that he needs help. He needs support to keep him going. And just a little bit of water will get him through, metaphorically speaking, of course. Beautiful song. Track 9 is called Ode to Liberty, the protest song. The second of two tracks written with Jimmy Bain, featuring Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits on lead guitar. Beautiful track. There is intermittently in the track, interwoven in the track, is a speech about freedom for all. Again, it's got to be said. Phil Lynott was a staunch supporter and defender of Ireland, and freedom for all for him meant Ireland, freedom to Ireland kind of thing. It was in his blood. He was a proud Irishman, and he made no apologies for it. He loved it. He loved his country, and that there's nothing wrong with that. Track 10 is a track called Gino, featuring Scott Gorham from Thin Lizzy on bass. To me, that's, out of the 11 tracks, that's the weakest track on the album, but it's still good. I wouldn't skip it, but it's not one I would go to all the time. Track 11 is a track called Don't Talk About Me, Baby. Final track on the album. And he's basically saying, when I'm picking up in the track, is that we're done. Don't mention my name anymore. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me anymore. Don't talk about me to your friends. Don't even think about me because we're finished. I've moved on. We're done. You know? Um, Again, he took a lot of chances on this album. Phil Lynott did. And for me, I like it for its diversity in terms of the music on it, the production, the composition, the arrangements. He took a lot on his shoulders because if you look at the instrumentation, like who played on what, he plays a lot of the instruments on this album. He took a lot on his shoulders. Um, and it is a fantastic album. Again, I don't know why it didn't do well in North America. Um, I can only imagine lack of promotion from the record company. I don't know. You can get this album on um, Amazon. You can get it on stream it on YouTube. You can stream it all the tracks together or separately. You can get it on Discogs, on eBay. You might have to pay a pretty penny for it because I do not believe that this album. Well, I'm sorry. It is. I was going to say I don't believe that this album is available anymore. It is obviously because it was released in Ireland, re-released in 2022. My apologies, but it in some areas you might have to pay more for it. So please, down there, down below, please let me know what do you think of this album. What do you think of Phil Lynott? Do you like Thin Lizzy? Do you not like Thin Lizzy? Do you think of Phil Lynott as a lyrical genius? Because a lot of people do believe or do feel strongly that Phil Lynott was a man that was ahead of his time and that was a beautiful man, a beautiful soul, a poet. There was a statue that was erected in Dublin to commemorate his life and his work. So, please let me know what you think of this album. Again, it is a beautiful album. Lyrically, it is spot on in terms of what he wanted to convey. There's a lot of emotion that went into these lyrics, and the way he's singing. It is for me a complete departure from what he did with Thin Lizzy. So that's it for now. So please, again, let me know what you think down in the comments down below, what you think of this album. And I will be back with more album spotlights coming up soon and more videos to come. So hopefully you guys are having a good night. Please look after yourselves and one another. And I will see you soon with a brand new video. Bye for now.